There's no use us perhaps working with one person in the home, and maybe there's a younger brother or sister there as well. So our offering is very different
But
and varied.
on that matter,
Yeah.
do you involve social services, or do you guys
That would
control
happen
that yourself?
automatically, unfortunately. So
Because
that
there's a
happens
minor.
anyway. That's all part
Minor,
of, that's all part of
Can
it.
I just
Okay.
tie this back into sort of the hospital side of things as well? So let's say, for example, a 15-year-old who's been stabbed, and I think I saw an ITV interview where you spoke about you wouldn't conduct any formal sort of surgery or any procedures on a person that's been carrying a knife or has been stabbed until they've been searched.
That's true.
Yeah. So after that search has been done, after you've patched them up, so on and so forth, how would you what sort of partners does the hospital work with
Yeah.
in order to pass that child on?
We wouldn't treat anybody unless we're sure we're not going to get injured ourselves. So
Which
if
is
that's
fair.
because, if a knife or a firearm's been involved, then clearly that, now 99% of the time, that's been done by the police on scene, right? But there are occasions when people walking off the street or are dumped on the ramp by their mates or they're not mates, as the case may be.
Yeah.
And so we have to do that ourselves. So yes, that would happen. I think, so the question you're asking is, if there's a 15-year-old boy or girl that's come in who's been stabbed and they don't die, then what do we do with them afterwards? Well, so specifically because they're 15, the law says we have to involve the agencies.
Okay.
Specifically because they're 15. The law says you're a child until the day you turn 18. With a child, we have to tell the authorities, and the authorities generally would be safeguarding teams, so that's social care, and because it's serious bodily harm, we'd probably involve the police through that as well.
Taking that back to sort of a 15-year-old or 16-year-old, would you work with a partnership with, I don't know, Very, for example?
Yeah.
Well, and that's via social services. So
Yeah.
by the way,
Okay.
there are other referring agencies, and we certainly would be working.
Yeah. Because I think the other thing, I was listening to what you guys were saying, you mentioned, I forget your name. Maya, sorry. About what are we doing, how are we working together? Well, if you think of the NHS, the H in NHS stands for health. Whereas actually what we talk about when we talk about A&E is the National Illness Service. You don't go to A&E because you're healthy, you go because you're ill.
Yeah.
So actually what we ought to be doing in health is promoting health. And by promoting health, we're meaning you don't get injured in the first place. So that really nails what it is that we're trying to do with Veru. We're not telling anybody, oh, such and such a body came in, they got this injury, you want to check it out. That's not. We're about preventing the next person. We're not about criminalising or breaking the confidence of the one that's in front of us. We're about using that information to try and help us to prevent the next one. It's the National Health Service.
Ralph, can I just
yes,
ask
please.
a question? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Just this kind of a question really for our young people, so I hope give you guys a break for a minute. Because we've got 4 very young people in the room, and my question to you guys is this. We're all of an older generation, and it's really hard. Well, I can speak personally. Sometimes it's really hard for me to understand what drives a young person to carry a knife or to commit some sort of act or violent act to even get there. I have a 15-year-old child and a 12-year-old child. For the life of me, I can't in my head understand it, because back in our day, we just never thought to do that. So what is it, guys? I mean, you're young. I don't know what.
My
There's so
thing
many
is,
questions. Like, what is it? What should we be
like
looking
I
out
said
for?
last week, listen, like, it doesn't have to get to, and I'm not saying let's not make excuses. Me personally, I've never carried a knife before. I'm on the right side of the law, and I'm happy with that. Because I don't play with the law personally, and I'm happy to be on this side. That's just me. I personally think that it comes down to listening. It's when you miss that, you miss everything, if you want me to be honest, because you don't listen, you've got rebellions on your hands, if you want me to be honest. And if you're constantly dodging your child for, I don't know, a partner, and it's a consistent thing, it starts in the home. So if you prefer to invest more of your time on your partner than your child, then looking for love in all the wrong places is something that starts happening.
That's a massive effect.
You know, fathers not being present, that's a massive thing. things like, main things I've heard, and the main things even for me personally is looking for love in all the wrong places, and lack of like adults wanting to listen and actually understand us from the younger generation to the old generation. And like I said last week, older generation people have like been to be stuck in their ways. Like, times have changed at the end of the day, and things it's different now. The times are different, things are handled in a different way. I wouldn't say mental health is a massive thing now. Beforehand, you know, with cultures, we have cultural issues with regards to mental health. Parents, I'd say, can come across too proud to deal with mental health. Mental health doesn't exist to certain parents. They pick and choose when they want to accept something and when they don't. So it all comes down to that. But the bottom line of all of that is listening. So if your child comes to you and says, you know what, it can be something as small, and I'm not going to say that one mental health is smaller than the other. I'm not saying that to anybody. I feel really sad constantly. That's one, and then the next step the higher steps would be I'm hearing voices. You need to kind of like find yourself some knowledge. Do you know what I mean? To kind of handle your kids, because at the end of the day, these things are real. These things are happening. Young people are hearing voices. Young people are upset. They are depressed. They are anxious about leaving their house. They're anxious about who they are because of what social media has done to them, wanting to be a certain body type, shape. That's for the women, wanting to kind of have all the flashy cars, the shoes, so you're going to go out and steal them because your mum does. Do you know what I mean? It's all a massive thing, but the bottom line of this is what I'm trying to say is just listen to your kids. That is literally it. That's the start. Listen to them.